So we're live. Hello, everybody. It's Mandy here from the Bubble Hub. I've got Marie from Credi here. So I've been working part of Credi. I hope everyone can hear me just before I go into big conversation with Marie. Just before I introduce Marie to you, I just wanted to just say, if anyone wants to make a comment, please put it in the chat box. There should be an opportunity to drop it in the box below. And also for us to bring it up on the screen and to see your name. If you wouldn't mind just clicking at there should be a box at the top with StreamYard where you can click and give them permission to allow access so we can see who's leaving the messages, or else it's just a blank question. That'd be really helpful. So I've been working with Credi for about 12 months now, and I've had the amazing opportunity to be working alongside Marie on the Respite project. She's been an amazing support to me through my ups and downs as a parent carer, but has been an amazing colleague as well. So we've just asked her to come on just to share some of the amazing stuff that she's been doing in Credi, a bit about herself and a bit about the Respite. So welcome, Marie, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hello. Thanks for having me, Mandy. It's the first time I've done anything like this, so it's all a bit weird. And forgive me, I'm working at home with a little one and a dog, so at some point I might have to mute myself, just deal with those things. But I think everybody's experiencing that. So I'm Marie Davis. And something pops up on my screen. I'm Marie Davis. I've worked with Credi for a long time, ever since it was actually first came together as Powys Carer Service. I grew up on a Fort farm just outside Llandrindod. Powys girl. I moved away for a tiny bit when I worked in Cardiff with the Welsh Government in rural policy, and came to work as Powys Carer Service 2003 when it came together as a Powys-wide organisation. Thanks, Mandy, for inviting me. I have, happy to talk about anything, and I could talk all day and all night, maybe just as much as you, Mandy, about things.
We make a good team, don't we?
Anything that anybody is interested in about unpaid carers in general, or for the last, I think since November 2019, I started working on the Creative Respite project, which has been great. Really proud to do that work, and a bit different from me being very much behind the scenes at Credi and very much behind the scenes at Powys Carers as the administrator and the finance officer, supporting amazing stuff. So come out into the light a little bit more now, and especially out in the light, going live with you, Mandy.
Oh, thank you. So just going back to, so you've been part of Credi since the very beginning, and we had a lovely conversation on the way back from, now let me get this right, Morecambe. I do apologise. Where I loved hearing the story of the beginning of Credi, and actually before Credi, because just tell everybody, how long have you been part of Credi?
Yeah, so I started working at Powys Carer Service back in November 2003, and I was 20 at the time, so very, very young into my career in the world, and it was a long time ago, and now everyone can work out how old I am. Yeah,
because it's evolved, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's not the same job. Or when we first started, I was a full-time administrator. There was one full-time manager, and there was equivalent to a North Powys, Mid Powys, South Powys worker, one each for young carers and one each for adult carers. And the team has just grown and grown. With more staff and widening out to wicked young carers in North Wales and Ceredigion, Gofalwyr Ceredigion carers, but also more people, more volunteers, more staff, more projects. Right now Credi's the largest team ever, really. Carers and their loved ones really joining just the paid staff, but more and more people becoming involved, all in the same direction to make, you know, unpaid carers and young carers' lives a bit better.
Because I kind of think I don't know if people really know, Credi covers so much, and I suppose we really have to home down at the moment, because there is so many elements of Credi at the moment. Like you've got the respite project, Kevin's running the raising awareness project, but there's also, you've got the outreach workers there is, and community projects. I mean, we could go on all year, not just today, talking about all of the elements that Credi do. And, you know, I suppose that's really why I wanted to get some of you guys on from Credi, to really shine a light on some of the really hidden stuff that go on behind the scenes, that I'm privileged to be part of as a carer, and I can really see and be part of moving forward with you guys. But that I don't often feel that if I wasn't a carer, I wouldn't see it. So you're running the respite project now, aren't you? And so I suppose this was what does respite mean? And I suppose you could answer that in a few different ways. So I'll let you sum that up, Marie.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the reason that we've got the Creative Respite Project is respite or short breaks or carer support. Some people have a certain understanding what respite means, what respite looks like. And, you know, the journey of the Creative Respite Project started like back in 2017, when we had an event, and we used to get together and we invited carers back in the day.
Remember see each other person, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I remember at the time planning a kind of opportunity for carers to come together, and you know, carers to be the VIPs, but also to invite some listeners from agencies and services, including Credi, that you know, really want to support carers, but you know, finding out what the support looks like and what's going well and what could be better. And I remember planning, kind of thinking about a kind of small event. You know, carers are really busy, and then put it out there. And I'm sure we had over 100 people in the room. The energy, what was shared, people sharing, you know, carers sharing what their lives were like and how could it be better, people really showing interest in there and wanting to do that, and really out of that, you know, everyone's got their individual stories and experiences, but the two big themes of respite and raising awareness came out. And then you know, we did some more events focusing on those two subjects, and then when there was opportunity, there was some funding available to really focus and drive that work forward with carers. So what does respite mean? Some people have said, I haven't really gone down the respite route because we have to be apart. Some people have said to me, there is no respite. But really, what does respite mean? So what does it look like? What does it mean? So many different things to so many different people, and at the heart of it is really what would give carer a break, or make it a more manageable caring role, or to have that balance with caring against life. And with the respite project, we've been amazed to have a respite fund, and because it was really about what matters, we, as soon as lockdown came and more traditional forms of respite weren't available, it really opened up the eyes and things. Okay, what could respite be even in lockdown? And I was really lucky to be invited recently to talk at a UK short breaks webinar, and a recording of that has been shared and started to show some of the examples of the things that I've just been really lucky to support, by listening to the carers and their circumstances and saying, what would it be like? And it's for you and your family and your particular place you live, in your particular home, what works. And there's some weird and wonderful and really imaginative things that come out. And especially now in lockdown, you know, digital and laptops to get connected and learn, and to the virtual has really upped its game.
I
Come
love
back to my
hearing
Zoom
about,
anniversary soon.
yeah, the heart of the matter and what matters to carers. And I've heard that a lot today in our meeting, and I loved hearing that your focus is what matters to the carers and their families, and that's really lovely to hear. I'm not just hearing it now while you're explaining it to me, but I also hear it. It really, I got a bit of a choke in my throat today when I was just hearing it's just about what matters to carers. And it's really lovely being on. Well, I didn't appreciate it at the time, but being on the reflective end of, when someone from Credi comes out, and I now know that when it's reflected back, it is just reflected back at me, the information that I've just given somebody, but in a different way. Because when I first met Jenny, she started saying about, and I keep saying all these amazing things that I was doing, and I just kept thinking, that's not me. You're talking about someone totally different. And what is really lovely is I'm reassured the fact now that she was just relaying in different words back to me all of the positives. And it took me 12 months to realise the qualities that I have as a carer. I think because I put a money value to it sometimes, because I'm not being paid for it, the value to what I'm doing isn't there. And I think through working with Credi, the hard work that I do, being a 24-hour-a-day carer, I remember first starting thinking, oh, I can work. I get a lunch break for an hour. Why wouldn't you want to work? Because as a carer, I work 24 hours a day and there is no break. So Credi do the most amazing work. And what I've loved about, even in the meeting today, is positive reflection on what people are, their positives, their strengths. I've never worked or been around people like that before. It's just so humbling. I feel privileged to be part of Credi. I really do.
Yeah. Oh, Mandy, it's you're privileged to have you as well. And I've learned so much. I learned so much from everybody that comes along. But it is sometimes, people forget what makes them special, forget where they live, why it's special. And sometimes always think about what else and what other. I grew up in Landrindod, and only when I moved away for a little bit did I realise what was so extra special. And sometimes it's like you only appreciate it when it's gone. But actually, what we're really trying to do is appreciate what is there. And there's always stuff around, and it's really special. But sometimes you just get that it's special, or don't realise it yourself. So just to in everybody can always think of some things that somebody is really, really good at. It's not just one thing either. And there's always, even really hard times, there are good things as well. So sometimes even respite in lockdown, it's even like micro things. So can you have 5 minutes to yourself? Can you have that bubble bath? What do you enjoy, and what can you do at home? And it's going to be different for different people. It could be that walk, it could be the gardening, it could be that bubble bath, it could be reading that good book, it could be watching really dodgy TV that you won't actually admit to anybody else that you watch. And it's just sometimes it's something, those mini breaks, just a balancing, keeping well, really. Sometimes it's doing things together. A lot of time carers are looking after someone they truly love. They don't always want to be part. Maybe it's sometimes it's seeing the person that you care for really doing something they love, and they're happy, so you can do other things as well. As a family, you can do things together. Maybe it is a break apart, but it's just finding those things that suit you and suit now, or want to do maybe that, but you're not sure how in the future.
So just talking about community, I don't what the relevance of this is. I had a fire back about 10, 11 years ago. I wouldn't be living back in Bilth now if it wasn't for that amazing community that literally lifted me up, picked me up, and and it was tough, I'm not going to lie, but it gave me a reason to come back, a community, the love. And it wasn't, they supported me in every possible way you could. They wanted to support me with getting me back on my feet. I had offers of, if I needed somewhere to, the offers was just, I just thought little old me, but the community we live in is just so fantastic. What we perhaps don't have in some of the services that we would like, or some of the other elements that the bigger places have, we make up in abundance with the community. We really do. So why do you think it's more important than ever then? Why is caring more important than ever now at the moment?
Yeah, I don't think it's more important than ever. I think it's always been important. It's just that when in COVID, in lockdown, when we're getting really back to basics, it's just been highlighted more. And supporting carers really highlighted because, the like you said, the community really rallied, but there was just some things, that maybe other services just couldn't adapt and change as fast. So they've had to stop, or they've been really focused on just crisis. And, caring is a massive part of keeping people well and keeping people loved, and just helping each other out, really. And so sometimes when those services that we've relied on just hasn't been safe or possible to do, it's really caring that is the thing that has remained, and a lot of people in COVID have become new carers. And I think, it's coming up to an anniversary of a year, and we hear that year has felt really long. And I don't know if there's a saying around, carrying a weight, and it's not the weight itself, but it's how long you carry that weight for. So sometimes, sharing it, or putting it down for a bit to recover is really important. Makes any sense?
Yeah, no, I struggle with asking people for help, I gotta say. And I've had many occasions when I've gone to hospital on my own because I didn't want to bother people to ask for help. And twice taking my daughter now with all of her equipment, I've twisted my ankle. So it's, maybe I need to start thinking a little bit more of getting the help that I need. But, and I can appreciate carers being like that, really, because they want to do it. But, it's sometimes just knowing that, when can we ask for help, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm really thinking through what kind of help and when that is helpful. And it's going to be different for every person. And I appreciate as well that, calling up an organisation like Credu might be quite scary. Don't really know who we are and what we're about and what you can expect. And because we do things that really depend on what's happening, it's kind of hard to always explain the difference that we can make, because it really depends on what's going on. And sometimes we're here to listen, but actually quite a few carers are just doing an amazing job, and they don't need us as such, because they've got it sorted, and they know, and they probably, they absolutely know more than we do in some ways. But
do you think a lot of it's connecting people up, though? It's some of the smaller things, connecting people up, the conversations, because I don't know, as a parent carer, I just wanted to link with other parent carers because they have the gold dust. The amount of information I've got from other carers is invaluable.
Absolutely, you're right. And it's sometimes it's looking to other people that have been there and done that. We've had some really great things happen by just linking people up or inviting them to get involved, and being able to share their gifts and their talents. And they're just, all we've done, kind of said, is invite them in, really, but they're doing it all. If that makes any sense. We're just kind of saying, come together.
Yeah, I love I love hearing how often a lot of the team support carers, And when they thank them for what they've done and made so much difference, the Credi team say, well, I didn't do anything, all I did was listen. But that is so valuable, just to listen, and as a carer to be heard and listen to, even if you can't change it.
Yeah, and it's just tricky, just getting it right for each individual person, not to do things that they are absolutely best placed to do themselves, or find out for themselves, or learn for themselves, connect up with. But also, when it's too much for somebody, it is helpful for us to just help it out or nudge it along. And it's finding that kind of like Goldilocks for each person, because sometimes there are carers who get to that crisis point who's like, can't take anymore and don't give me another thing I need to do. I just need some help. So it's just helping people where and when they need it, but also sometimes like shining the light, or even saying, asking someone what their plan is and saying, that sounds like a really good plan. You know what you're doing, you know what you want. And, we'll check in to see how you're getting along with that.
I was amazed when Jenny offered me the job after I'd explained my situation of not being able to work because of my daughter, and I was really overwhelmed that someone would take me on, knowing that I could spend half of the year not working potentially. But they believed in me to be able to offer me the job, and from that spun, I opened. Because it's such a great community to be in, Credi, I was able to be open and honest about being dyslexic, and I've had a few bumps along the way, but when I was really clear about explaining it, I didn't think I could work because I couldn't spell, and Credi have just really enriched my life. I just believe I can do anything now. I've gone from a place thinking, I've gone from a place thinking that all I'm going to be doing is being a carer to my daughter. And don't get me wrong, that is an amazing job. I now realise that I take on wholeheartedly and take really seriously. But what Credi have shown me is that I can actually, my time for me is working. I enjoy it. I love it. I get escapism from my job, and it empowers me to want to help other carers. And it's just, I feel blessed that I've been given the opportunity to be able to make a difference, really.
Yeah, absolutely. So working, learning, doing stuff that you focus on and feel good about achieving, alongside caring, is respite. Absolutely, people say work is respite. And I remember, Mandy, when you started, and we were like, how is this going to work, and what's it going to look like? Because this development year you've had with Credi has always been around really testing, is it true that you can't work and care? And we started thinking about the things that were on your mind, and I remember one conversation was like, look, if anything happens that you need to stop working and care, you do that because your work isn't more important than friends or family. Your work is meant to add to your life. And touch words, the luck has that hasn't needed to happen on I think to the extent that you thought it was going to be. At least there's
if it was the year
moments.
before, it may be. But what really made me so, what would be the word? I was overwhelmed that Credi would think of working different with me, because I know I can't always do the 9 till 5, but I'm pretty sure I put in my hours and some. But I remember being in hospital with Polly and thinking, that's it, my job's over. I can't work. I'm in hospital with Polly. They're not going to want me anymore. And I remember having a conversation with you around, yeah, but we just learn to work a bit differently with you. It doesn't have to be 9 till 5. It could be evenings. It could be we can see the work you're doing. You don't need to help. We see it. And I just thought, I didn't realise work could be like that, That I could make...
Mandy, you were one of the first people to jump on Zoom, and we had all these plans of what we were going to do in your area, and then we had to do those plans, which was gutting. You were like, right, I enjoy craft, so I'm going to share this. And then, and you started off Zoom, and, that's grown, and the feedback that you've had from, yes, you do craft, but some real friendships there, something to look forward to. People have started to do things differently in little projects. and achievements, of making some really beautiful things that, I can't knit. I love them. Used to do a bit of cross stitch. But, people can really create things, and it's also created friendships. You were one of the first people that really just thought, I'm going to have a go at this. And I think that's what's kind of great, is that even this today, live streaming and stuff, you're really helping us do really new things.
When I started Credi, I couldn't use emails properly. I give people false emails because I didn't want to be hassled. I couldn't use my laptop to do diaries. I really was a novice at what I'm doing. So I feel quite humbled that Credi have helped me grow to the extent where I wouldn't have done this if it wasn't for COVID, because I'm a people person. I'd rather drive 100 miles to see somebody than I would have a phone call or do it like this. But I realise I need to connect with people. And it enriched my life, because I now know wherever I am, whatever I do, even if I'm in hospital with Polly, I can still work, because if I've got a computer, I can still access all of this technology. So I've really took the bull by the horns with learning as much as I can about the technology. But the best thing I enjoy the most is when I hear other people have been inspired to do a live or to get involved with the technology, or that they want to come on a Zoom because they've seen me do it. That is gold dust.
Really. I always keep thinking about your brave pants.
I nick that.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it anyway. And, you've put yourself out there, and you found friends, and you found support. And I just think it's brilliant. And part of the creative respite is listening to new ideas and thinking, okay, how can we make this happen? And it's tricky in COVID, because there's all these things that we could do, which we could do, but I think there's still a lot of hope and also amazing things. Even when it's really hard, there's still amazing things that can be done, and have been done every day. There's just a lot of, especially with caring, as it's hidden.
Yeah, and it's looking for the positives as well, because we can all, and this is a bit what I've learned on some of the courses I've been doing, we could all, like today, I've had quite, you could think of just as many bad things that's happened today as good, but it's just trying to reflect more on the good, so it primes your brain to keep looking for the good things, so you don't get like, I could tell a sad story. I could tell a sad story every single day, but it isn't going to help me, and a lot of it I can't change, so it's often trying to focus on what you can change.
Absolutely, the hope and the kind of the way to get things through, and taking it, a lot of carers have said, taking it day by day right now, keeping well.
On that, so a lot of people are sometimes a bit confused as to what a paid carer and an unpaid carer is. Do you have a sort of explanation, a little bit of the difference of that, or are they the same, or?
Yeah, I mean, there are people who are unpaid carers and paid carers. So some people, I would say a paid carer is someone whose job it is. And an unpaid carer is someone who's doing it not as a job or a career. Some people think that receiving carers allowance, because it's a benefit money, it's payment, but unpaid carers also include people in receipt of carers allowance, and they're just everywhere. There isn't anymore a kind of the legal definition that says you must care in this way, or you must care for a certain amount of hours. It's somebody who's looking after somebody that can't do without that help, and it can be physical care, it can be personal care, it can be emotional support, it can be medications, it can be transport, it can be so many different forms, but essentially it's if you're helping someone that can't do without that help.
Yeah, because I think there's definitely a lot of people out there that don't think they're a carer because it's their pet. I didn't think I was a carer because it was my daughter. It was only when I went to, I think it was with Contact, the first meeting I had with the Bright Beginnings, was that, and I even didn't think I was then, but Polly's care needs were still so great then. But I didn't think I was a carer because she was my daughter, and I could see other people thinking, well, it's my mum, I just do it because she's my mum.
I hear that every week from a different person every week. I'm not a carer, I only. So it's so common to not recognise the caring role. Sometimes until it's too late, it's too much. And I know a carer once told me how, being a carer for a loved one, it's a gift. It's a gift, and you can, when it's freely given, it's a pleasure, it's a privilege. It just becomes tricky at the point where you're kind of losing yourself, or it's becoming too much, and spotting that point is really hard. So when it is a gift that's freely given, it's part of being human. It's part of it's in all of us to care for our family, for our friends. But it's just making sure it stays in that zone. And sometimes you hear about people who are completely lose themselves in caring. I think that's kind of what you were describing before, Mandy, when you think, I'm not me anymore. And that's when, a bit of help, of support can just get you back into that healthy zone of a gift freely given.
There's a couple of comments here, and Becky might have to just, I'm not quite sure what you mean, Becky.
Oh,
but,
I know. I know. So, yeah. So on Friday, so Becky from Credu hosted the second Engage to Change meeting for carers. The first one was in November, and on Friday was the second one, and we had over 53 people from around Wales who care about carers, and some carers shared some questions and things that are important to them. And there were some updates. And also towards the end of the conversation, we spoke about carers' access to the COVID vaccine, which I know Becky had asked us about. And so we're going to be linking in with the health board to find out about how to make sure that unpaid carers know about their eligibility to the COVID vaccine, and how we can help them get that when they're entitled to. Make sure that the unpaid carers are not hidden again.
Oh, thank you for that, Becky. I think that just goes to show how big Credu is, because I was sort of thinking, I don't know what Becky's asking me. So thank you for that, Marie.
Yeah, I hope that's the one that she's referring
I would
to.
imagine
because it's something every day, and sometimes it's about 2 or 3 things. But I think that's there.
And Tara, as hi both. Well done, you're doing great. How nice is that?
Maybe Tara will be up for the next one.
Oh, maybe. You never know. You never know. Could have the whole team on here. I can have 10. So I wonder if you could help me with this one, because I don't know about any other carers out there, but I remember being in hospital with Polly and them saying, oh, well, we're going to get in touch with your outreach worker. And I thought, outreach worker? I don't have an outreach worker. And I even remember saying it to in one of the meetings, and I felt really embarrassed because I'd said to Jenny and some of the other Credu team, oh, well, I don't have an outreach worker. And actually, I did, but I didn't understand what the word meant. So I wonder if you could do that, Marie.
It's so hard, though, isn't it, Mandy? There's people, people who draw on support, people who they're carers, and there's a lot of professionals and a lot of agencies to know who's doing what here. So I think it's helpful to kind of explain that Credu has one office in Llandrindod, which is not open at the moment, but we have a team of people who cover the whole county of Powys. And again, we do have a team as part of our Ceredigion carers, and we support young carers in Wicked Young Carers up in Wrexham, Conwy and Denbighshire. But for Powys, we have a team of workers who are based in the community. They're not in an office. They're out and about usually. At the moment, obviously, we're working from home most of the time. And essentially, each outreach worker has a patch of the county, and that patch is defined by a lot of the time how much funding we have, and how many hours they want to work. And they support carers in the area, really. And sometimes that's one-to-one support, or helping somebody, through what matters to them and what they're going through. It's also linking up with other local carers through groups and activities, which we'd normally do. A lot of that is digital at the moment. And also, really linking into community, because there's other amazing stuff that's happening and things, but also linking up carers to support each other. But yeah, what is outreach work? I mean, maybe if carers want it, call it differently. Please let us know about a name that would work better to explain it. But it really is to support carers in however they want to be supported, really, and just being led by them.
But I don't even suppose the name really matters, because I suppose what outreach work is just supporting carers, really, isn't it? In a nutshell, with what matters, which is exactly what credu do. But I just thought it was interesting just to ask the question, because I'd heard it and it was a bit like respite. I didn't know what respite meant. I'd heard it a lot of times on many different levels. I truly didn't understand what respite was until I had Polly myself. So we've got another bit of a supporter coming. So here you go, Marie. This one's for you.
Oh, my best moment are it's loads. The best ones have either been sharing carer stories, receiving the feedback of the little bit of help and the difference it's made. I think one of the best has, besides the Bubble Hub journey, obviously, but one of the best was one of the first, the Creative Respite project. We've had this pot of money and we're really thinking about trying to do something differently, what matters when it matters, and not necessarily doing the same as other grant supports. So just playing around with it, really. But one of the first grants that we made was for a mum who's looked after her son, and his thing was producing music. And when he was making his music, he was happy, he was content, he was achieving. But his laptop had broken down, and the funding helped out with a second-hand laptop, really, quite certain spec to do this music production on, and had it, and it was brilliant. And then a few months later, he said that his music had actually been shown and featured on BBC Wales, and he sent in the clip and did a lovely shout out to Credu and said thank you, and really complimented him on his music. And that was really special to kind of just be a little part of that. And of course, Credu can't do this without the support of carers who shared their stories, the carers steering group, which was formed from those conversations, or of the regional partnership board, and the commissioners who listened to carers and made this project available that Credu applied for, and we said we'd do it, and then we got it. But it's all in team effort.
So important.
Absolutely, because
and also it's the surveys. I know as a parent carer, they drive me mad, but I don't. They do. I'm not going to lie. Paperwork drives me mad anyway. But
yeah,
they really do. I now understanding the importance of making sure that the carers, when they do a survey and they fill one out, the importance of it and how grateful as a charity that we are that the carers take the time to do these, because without them, I wouldn't be here, we wouldn't be here, Credi wouldn't be here, because, you know, and what Credi do so well is get their stories out. But I just want to make everybody really aware of, you know, their surveys aren't just for nothing. They are really, really important, as are the other avenues of the information and the shared stories when they come to the meetings. I didn't realise the value of them, and I make sure I fill them all in now, because I want to make sure amazing charities keep going.
Well, yeah, Credi are just a bridge or a link. You know, if people don't share their stories, if, you know, to do bespoke support, it really is about sharing what's happening right now. And that can be hard, and it can be scary, and it requires some trust. But that having that trust and that relationship means that we can link up with things. I just really appreciate that, because we don't just make this happen on our own. We are trusted and listened to, and we have amazing partners who we can share that with, and who help us make it happen. You know, it really is real team effort. It's not just happening on its own, and it's not just happening because I'm here or Credi's here.
I'm amazed at the networking that Credi does. I mean, I know not each one person can know everything about Credi or what they do, but the networking that I see going on, and that I've been doing myself as well, I'm quite blown away at. The you know, Credi are always, and a lot of other charities, really want to link together, want to join together, want to make things a little bit more seamless. And I'm amazed quite how many people, charities and people and networking that create, not just charities, you know, health boards, and you know, it really is important to keep them lines of communication open.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, everyone is there to help and make things better, and it's just about working with each other to link it up, or to understand, and, you know, to move forward, really. And yeah, even the meeting we mentioned on Friday, there was over 50 people in the room. So carers, young carers, agencies, Credi, all with an interest in sharing. And I think that, you know, there'll be more. I think the next one will be in May. And, you know, I think what's special to Credi is that carers are setting the agenda. We're just maybe
I love that.
platform or a space, but, you know, we have an invitation, and hopefully people take it up and
I
want
think
to
we were
share.
saying earlier, weren't we, how it was, I just love how you, everything comes back to, yeah, but does the carer want that? Is that important to the carer? How do you know that the carer wants that? And every step that you take is always about making sure that Credi and us ourselves individually are really representing what the carers are really saying, and that's really valuable to Credi, but especially it comes out all the time, because you're off. I heard you say earlier, you know, but they don't want to know about me, they want to know what's going on, but we do want to know about Marie, because she does really amazing work. I just want to bring this comment up before we move on. So lovely, Credi. What an amazing, what a difference you are making. That's really,
And of
really
course,
lovely.
Eve's there, you know, quite a lot behind the scenes, sharing the, you know, all the activity hours, and so the weekly email that you receive, it's Eve that has collated all this stuff together. And it's really important for, you know, I started in Paris Carers as an administrator, but without these behind the scenes things, you know, the end result won't happen. And the trickiness is getting that just right, you know, not too much behind the scenes, but enough that it keeps everything working well, and well-oiled machine.
They're doing some amazing work now, aren't they? You know, I see, like you said, the behind the scenes, all of the posters that go out on Facebook. But not only that, they've redesigned the Credi website, and it looks absolutely amazing. I'm blown away. It is so, from a dyslexic's point of view, it looks so lovely and so welcoming and so dyslexic friendly. It looks great.
Eve's been a big part of that, and working with Kevin and lots of other people. And of course, what Kevin's doing in the Raising Awareness project is that there's a team of carers having their say, so we can get it as right as we can for carers. So it's not us just deciding what should happen. And the ideas that come from carers just make it so much better than what we can dream of. And it's lovely to just sometimes make some things happen.
So I know we like to share all of the doom and gloom of COVID, and I probably am one myself. And we can all, I think we would be here for another week and a day, but I really love sharing and, really having a good old rack of your brain of some of the, I know I've got some positives in COVID, but I'd love to hear, Marie, your personal work. What are your positives in COVID?
I mean, using tech differently to reach out. Mandy, I know that I've used a little video that you made for me, which was like welcome to our world. As carers, we found it hard. I found it hard to get out and about. So now everyone has a little bit of what it's like to feel stuck inside. Just talking again about engage to change and how we had over 50 people in a space together listening. That would have taken a lot of traveling across the county. It would have taken a bit more money to find a space to accommodate us and things like that. And I used to spend a lot of time on the road. So now we can I can link up with and I can do training and support people so much quicker now because we've got loads of different tech teams and Zoom and Google Meet and things like this. So that's a huge one.
Technology is, it's blown me away because I didn't realize I missed it until I had it, and now I just think again, I'm always going to be able to connect with people now because I can always access a computer. So I very often wasn't able to get out, and I wouldn't be able to go to a lot of these events, especially if Polly's not very well. I might not have been able to go to some of our team meetings up in when we were away, but I always know I can access it if it's on the internet. So it's opened the opportunity for me threefold. But I do appreciate that, like, not everybody can access this technology as well. So it's been a bit of a flip, really. You've gone from like people that need to meet people and be out and about. We really served them really well before COVID, getting out and about. But perhaps maybe not so much on the technology. But now we're really serving all the technology. But obviously we can't connect like we used to in person. So I'm loving the thought of coming out in COVID. And they're going about this blended learning, but blended ways of communication now. Of maybe the doors are open and it's a new way of working.
Absolutely. And because some things that we used to do aren't available, we really have to think about what else is. And, that's why, it is hard. Absolutely, it's hard. But when there was only at home available, the ways that people were really creative and imaginative about what respite could look like at home, well, those things can still look like respite alongside more traditional ideas about what respite looks like. When some things aren't available, you really rally round and think of alternatives. And I think even in credu, for the whole team to come together would be really hard. And now we can have coffee mornings, and it isn't just happen to be the people who live in the same town.
Well, I remember going back to when I first set up online. It's like I remember doing craft and thinking, can we do this online? Can we really do craft online? Would it really work? Would anyone even want to come? So yeah, just the door of opportunity. I've been talking to Mum about. What would it look like if you actually? And it's not always open. So often it's only a short space of time. A bit like when I took my job. Do you walk through it? And if you walk through it, what would it look like the other side if you went through it? Because it closes. The door of opportunity will close. And it's a bit like that.
Give things a try as well. It doesn't really matter if some things don't quite work out, but we tried it, we learned from it, and we can keep changing. And I just love having people's ideas about what would help them and what respite might look like, and see what we can do together. And if it doesn't work, then we learn something. What does it work? Do we change it? And we keep just adapting, being creative. So I love to hear ideas.
Because it sounds like Credi, going back to right at the beginning, Credi hasn't been Credi for like 16 years, has it? Credi has only been Credi for us. And
no,
it's still evolving.
Pandemic aside, how different the organisation is and what we do compared to 2-3 years ago. constantly evolving, and it evolves because of the people that are involved. Someone once said something about a credu should do this, and it was like, well, who is credu? And it's like, it's the people that get involved, and how that looks, and what it does. It's who's alongside us, who's with us, really. And we just keep trying, keep learning, and you just can't get bored yet. As a job, there's no chance of ever getting bored, because there's so much more we can do for carers and
even in work, you play to everybody's strengths. There's none of this do something that you feel awkward or uncomfortable doing. It's no, what is your strengths? How can we help you with that? Or what would you like to do? I mean, not every job you get that opportunity to work on your strengths, is it? And the
had
support.
some amazing ideas recently that are getting piloted out there, and they've come from seeing an opportunity, they are working out really well, because we're just trying something different.
But what I love is the fact that, because I think without a mistake you can't learn nothing.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about little mistakes here, and nothing major. Like, oh, that group didn't quite work out, or things like that. But yeah, trying something new, and thinking about what are we here for, and who are we here for, and what have we got to work with, and who else can help. I mean, just asking that question, who else can help, can be wonderful. And brilliant people out there.
So the triple mission. We want to nail this, don't we, Marie?
Okay. So a few years ago, we kind of thought, what is credu about, and who are we, and what are we for? And kind of realised that this triple mission comes out, which overlaps each other, because the one is about empowered carers and families. So that is about helping an individual carer, or helping a family, or household, or whatever that looks like, with what matters to them. But that kind of just relies on credu. And it was like, okay, but it's not just credu and that family in the mix. There's also other services around. So the second one is services that understand, respect, and support carers. So our voice and influence comes in. So experiences of other services, experiences of your local shop, experiences of hospitals, doctors, social services. How could, what's going well? How could they be better? And then the thirdly is that wider community. Unpaid carers are everywhere. So how does a place, how does society recognise the value and
joys of being at home, hey?
Yeah, the joys. It's just, that carers are just understood and supported by everyone around. A bit like the saying, how it takes a village to raise a child. We are like social beings, social animals, and we can't do things alone. So how does caring fit into community life, and how can we support carers fit into that community life and give, so that the loneliest, isolation, and feeling lost. And then so that's a kind of triple mission, and trying to do everything with kindness and empathy as well, and based on strengths, and also where people want to get to, what's important, and what they want, what would they like life to be like, and how to get there.
But it's and it's really important for carers. But what's amazing is that is all part of credu as well. What matters to everybody, the carers, the people that are working, the people that we communicate that respect across. It isn't just sort of for the carer. It's sort of like inbred in credu as as a mantra as such. It's just it's just
one of our values, really. If people feel well supported, people feel listened to, then they can share their ideas, their thoughts. They can be supported when things are getting a bit tougher.
There's a support from credu as a team member. I've I've had situations where I've needed the support myself, which I know I get being a carer anyway. But the support I've had has been second to none as being a worker as well. And the worry was perhaps if I work for Credi, perhaps maybe that the support might not be there the same. But I don't feel that one bit. I just feel the support on every level. I don't feel that because I work for Credi that I still get the same level of support. But perhaps a bit more because I'm part of the team and I can see, and I'm supported as part of the team as well. Yeah, it's a very special place to be.
But it's give and take, it's about what you contribute as well as what you get. And it really is mutual. And then sometimes we can give a bit more and sometimes we need to receive a bit more.
Yeah. So what's next for Credi Marie?
I don't know. Short term, the respite project is going to the end of March. We are hopeful that it will be extended for a further year, so we're waiting to hear about that. But immediately, we've got next week is the carer steering group on the 23rd of February in the afternoon. We've got the Respite Matters Forum, which people are very welcome to come and hear about how the project's going and what the next steps is. And we have been thinking today just about a bit more about when it might be safe to get outside and when it might be safer to do things together, because in lockdown, especially this second kind of lockdown in winter, a lot of the support has been very much at home and for kind of individual carers or families.
So if anyone wanted to get involved with that, the Respite Matters that you was on about, how would they do that? Maybe we'll put a link in afterwards. After we finish, we'll drop a link in so it can take them
yeah
to go.
Yeah, there's we mentioned the brand new website, and there's a calendar on there, so you can have a look at anything that's coming up. The activity hours happening every Monday to Friday from 2 to 3 p.m. As well. So have a look on the calendar and there'll be links and support there. And if there's any questions as well, you can call up the main office number or email.
But also as well, I don't know, are they the preferred sort of angles, or is there ways people perhaps can connect with people through? I know you've got the Facebook groups and things like that. Is that ways that people can connect to find out as well?
Yeah, we've got a new I can't say it. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, email. We've got phone. Can write to us as well. Whatever ways that people fancy doing, really. I'm on Facebook and Twitter myself as well.
And if anyone wanted to get involved, like you were saying, with any of the meetings, again, it's the same, isn't it? Any of the meetings, if they feel they need support, there's the phone call. If they want to talk about, I think the first point of call could be for a lot of people is a phone call, even if they're just wanting to inquire about perhaps something that we've talked about today.
Yeah, that's it. If you were to call up, you should expect a very friendly bilingual greeting, and we just ask, how's it going for you? We're there to listen, and really that you lead the conversation about what you want to talk about, what you want to ask.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Marie. That has been really special. We have covered so much stuff. It's unbelievable. And I did hear you say you might want to come on with me again if I've been really kind to you, but we'll wait and see if Marie's got time.
We'll have to put it in the comments and see if you want me or back. We said we were aiming for half an hour and now nearly an hour has gone. So
I know.
Gone quick.
Thank you so much for your hour, because we were thinking about half an hour, weren't we? Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for coming on the show and all the good stuff. I've really enjoyed it, and we do hope you're coming back to the Bubble Hub again soon.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Is there anything else you'd like to add just before we go?
I don't think so. Just thanks for this. And if there's any other questions, be more than happy to have me back if at all anybody wants me.
That's great. Thank you so much, Marie. I'll see you all again soon.